Okay, Indy, you're gonna have to take the lead because they're not logging in on time. I don't plan on being in this. Y'all need to tell me what to do. I can hear you. You just will not be able to see me.
Okay.
I'll play the video. It's not gonna come to you guys loud. If you get feedback, that means everybody needs to mute because they're getting feedback from their sound playing into their computer back into the screen. So y'all go live in 6 minutes.
6 minutes. Got you.
Okay, tell them they need to log in.
Yeah, they said they were gonna be on right on time. So
All
I
right.
don't know why. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. You see Lalani here. There she is.
Hey,
Okay. I'm
hey.
gonna bring you all back up at 8:30. And then you guys do what you need to do.
I
Lalani
hear you.
can't hear you. Lalani. Uh-oh. Lalani. Uh-oh.
Nah. Yes, that
Log
is
back
crazy.
out. Log back out and log back in.
Turn off the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Go to the Jebulon page. We're on their live. Forward it to where you need to forward it to. You hear me, Indy?
Yeah. I hear you.
On the
Okay.
Jebulon page. Go forward it from there. Lalani, can we hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Can
Yes.
hear you now.
Cool. I had to go to another link and do something. It was crazy, but y'all can hear me. So
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you got it. You got it, Indy?
Yep.
Off the Jebulon page. Go forward that to where you need to. Obviously, I can't forward it.
Yep. They Faye just forwarded it to the
Okay.
right place, I think.
Everybody's
So
getting it. Okay.
good.
I'm gonna pull y'all off until everybody gets on now.
Okay.
Hello. How's everybody? Hey.
Hey, y'all.
Y'all like my little hat? Y'all like my little militant hat? Hi, everybody. I'm so glad y'all could make it. Thank you for tuning in. We're gonna wait for, I think we got 2 more people joining in, and
You muted yourself, Tim.
oh my gosh, you don't have the participant now? Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Oh, okay. I I just wanted to make sure that we allow everybody to get on. I know we have 2 more people coming in. I've invited.
Every couple seconds, you mute yourself.
I'm muting Tam because Tam, you're echoing. Something's wrong. Please, yourself. Everybody's echoing. Go now, Tam.
I can hear you now. Can y'all hear me? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and kick off this I thought a councilman said something conversation about, really just a real talk about what happened in the public safety meeting today. If you were able to join that public safety meeting that the city had, you would know exactly how the community's interests and concerns were not that important to the public safety committee. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add one more person. Hold on, real quick, you guys. Hold on. And also, if Leilani or Andy, if you could post in the chat the link to the community safety video, public safety video, that would be great, because I think it's important that the community have that information so they can see exactly what happened today if they were not able to tune in from that 1 to 4, from 1 to 4 in that meeting. So please post that if you can. And I think we were gonna have another. I think we're waiting on Changa. So let's go ahead and see if he's in the waiting room. I think we were just waiting on Changa. So if you have any questions, just to kind of go over what we're doing tonight. Again, this is a recap of the public safety committee meeting that we did have in the city of Dallas today. It was from 1 to 4. We will get that link to you so you can just see exactly what was talked about in that meeting. And today was the first meeting that our new police chief, Mr. Garcia, joined in on. And in that meeting, he gave us a, candid view of what's important to him coming into the city of Dallas as a new chief. And we'll kind of discuss those things, but we want to make sure we do get this link to you. If you have questions, please go on the Facebook. You can type in questions there. think people can hear you. People can say that. Another. They were waiting on China. Okay, I did. All right. So I closed my Facebook. Go ahead. We have Chandra here. So go ahead.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Am I echoing?
You got to put your self on mute, Tam.
It should be fine. Yeah. Still echoing. I kind of like how it sounds, but yeah. So if everybody can hear me, I'll go ahead. Do we go? Okay. Well, yeah. So today, well, for everybody, I'm Changa Higgins. I'm running for Dallas City Council District 7, and I've been a long time activist, organizer around policing and community policing, around policing, criminal justice reform, and today I was a part of a public safety committee meeting today, which was really kind of disturbing on a lot of levels. I'm one of the co-creators of a new report that we were presenting today to the Public Safety Committee. And the report was basically outlining the disproportionate number of Black and brown folks that are being arrested for low-level arrests in the city of Dallas. And what makes it so unique is that a lot of those arrests are ones that don't even have to happen. So we're talking about criminal trespassing, sleeping in public, jaywalking, and also about 6 marijuana possession or drug possession charges that are like 2 ounces or less for marijuana. And so what the stats showed, what the analysis showed, was that 85% of the arrests when it comes to drug arrests were for low-level offenses where people got arrested for under 2 ounces of marijuana. Of that, 60% of those arrests are Black people in Dallas. We only make up 23% of the population in Dallas, but we make up 60% of the arrests for low-level marijuana offenses and low-level misdemeanor charges. So we were presenting that today, and we thought that we were going to get, enough time to present that, especially considering that we've been working on this for about 6 months. DPD knew about it, the city knew about it, and it was a serious analysis. But what happened, what actually happened is they put us at the end of the agenda, and they only gave Tanya McClary, the director of the Office of Police Oversight, they only gave her 5 minutes to speak. And then 10 minutes to speak, really, and then they cut her off. And so, yeah, and after that, City Council began to tear into the Office of Police Oversight, like basically questioning if they had the authority to make policy recommendations, questioning why do they have, if they underfunded, and if they're just supposed to be doing investigations, then why are they doing stuff like this, especially when they don't have enough money or staff, and then also told the Office of Police Oversight that you don't need to worry about policy. We do policy. You don't worry about policy. And it clearly wasn't a policy document. It had policy recommendations in it, but it was findings, analysis, and then it was policy recommendations. So nobody was doing the council's job. It was just making recommendations, which is in the purview for an oversight office to do. Oversight offices across the country look at data, look at problems, and then tell their city councils or their city governments how to fix it. And that's all it was. But we had one councilman in particular who was the incumbent in my district, Adam Bazadua, who went so far as to say that the Office of Police Oversight wasn't even doing their job. And question, should they even have the ability to do that? Now, this is from supposed to be the most progressive council person on the city council, right? And so we just saw him, Councilman Blewett, and a few other council people, including Carolyn King Arnold in District 4, where Leilani is running, actually just question and try to justify the existence of the board altogether. Carolyn King Arnold went so far as to say that she wanted to do a whole review on how much money it's costing to be out on the streets with protesters and people doing freedom of speech. And she said she didn't have any problem with freedom of speech, but it's costing money. And it's costing police time and police hours, and we need to know just how much money these people are costing our city. I think that you guys got a video or something you're gonna show, like of parts of this. Are you gonna do that? But it was a joke. It was a complete failure on a lot of sides. We didn't have one council person stand up for the Office of Community Police Oversight. We didn't have one council person that, even when they questioned her job and whether she was doing her job, stood up and just said, no, it is in her purview to be able to do this kind of analysis and do policy recommendations. We didn't have one council person that even spoke to the importance of having this kind of analysis and what it can do for the city. What we did get, though, is we got the new chief, Garcia, doing a show and tell exercise for like 30 minutes. They gave the new police chief like 30 minutes, and they gave maybe even an hour. And then they gave the fire department like 30 or so minutes to talk. And what Chief Garcia did is he held up a 2-ounce bag of weed, and then in his other hand he held up 2 ounces of weed broken down in the like grams, or and he was saying nobody who runs around with this kind of marijuana is running around with it for personal use. And he began to call people criminals. He began to call people crooks. And he was saying that this will allow the criminals to get smarter if we did decriminalize 2 ounces or less. He mentioned people that were getting arrested for marijuana possession several times as criminals and crooks. Mind you, this is from a police chief that came from a city where marijuana is legal. So why are you even talking like that about it, right? If anything, you should have special insight on how to handle this in a way that's more lenient, coming from a city where it's already decriminalized, it's legal. But we didn't hear that. We heard a get tough on crime stance. We heard words that you've heard in the war on drugs before. You've heard, that's what you heard. You heard terminologies that I haven't really heard from police chiefs since the war on drugs was at its height. And so I'm not gonna say I told you so about this police chief to everybody, but there he is. He showed you who he was, and also the city council showed who they were today too. They showed that number one, and so he asked, instead of the council moving forward with their resolution to decriminalize 2 ounces or less, he asked that he be given 30 days to come up with a policy to put in his general orders. And instead of the council showing leadership and saying, Chief, that's great, come back to us in 30 days. They said, okay, great. Well, we'll see how you handle it in your general orders, and we just won't do anything right now. So instead of taking the opportunity to lead and actually govern and actually create policy, they were already down the road, halfway down the road doing this, right? So today was supposed to be about the resolution, but they let the police chief come in and call the shots. So what we're seeing from our city council is that they don't understand that public safety is more than just the police, number one, right? To them, public safety still means policing. Number two, they still don't get it. Even after all the protests, even after this whole historic summer of protests, all the conversations that we had, they're still centering public safety and their ideas about what should happen with people in this city with policing around the police and not the people. They also let us know, y'all, that they today's committee meeting was a big value statement. They basically made a call and they told the community, hey, look, because our report, it does show disparity with Latinos, but not as much as in the Black community, right? And so what this report shows really explicitly is that Black people in Dallas bear the brunt of over policing and misdemeanor enforcement and misdemeanor arrests in this city disproportionately. And so that was a value statement to us that you don't matter as much as the police matter. You don't matter as much as what we've been doing and what we want to happen. So they gave us 5 minutes to speak, 5 minutes to do a full PowerPoint presentation on 7 recommendations and 7 major findings of data, right? And gave the police chief 30 minutes to play show and tell with 2-ounce bags of marijuana. And so it's time for us to do something about that, right? We need to let Chief Garcia know who we are as activists and organizers and people in this movement. We need to let him know who we are and what kind of heat and what kind of smoke we can bring down there to DPD headquarters. And we need to let these council people know that we haven't forgot about this summer. We haven't forgot. We took an L, but we haven't forgot. And we haven't forgot how you failed us this summer. It's the reason why I'm running. It's the reason why Leilani running. It's the reason why Jennifer Cortez is running in District 2 is because we haven't forgotten about the failure, the abysmal failure that you had this summer, right? And so it's time for us to hit these streets. It's time for us to figure out some direct action. It's time for us to look at who are the people who are making the most noise about this and who are putting the biggest roadblocks in our way on the city council. And it's time to go start having some conversations with them wherever we need to have those conversations at. Since we can't come to City Hall, we need to go to them.
Chaga. Right. Thank you so much for that, Chaga. I do want to let the community know that we are about to play a segment of that public safety meeting today. Yeah. So again, if y'all have questions, drop them in the comment, ask questions, post questions, we'll get them answered for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and cue it so we can play that part of the video. Okay, well, while she is setting up, I do want to, okay, here we go.
Y'all have audio?
I don't think anybody can hear.
So the people were community members. I know that you said you can't hear it. So we're just gonna have to play that again because the people were not able to hear the audio. And yeah, Denise Benavides, hi, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Denise says she cannot hear. We have Anthony Lazon. Hey, thank you for tuning in. He said he cannot hear. Regina said she cannot hear. So we're gonna have to play that again so that people can hear exactly what the police chief was communicating to the Public Safety Committee today. So while we are trying to get that audio, everybody, again, post your questions in the comment section. The audio is not working. Yeah.
We have this that just fell. This.
Can you look that up? We can't see it so much. It's here.
I get them on her. This is also 2 ounces of marijuana. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Obviously, very different 2 ounces. One that we can argue for personal use, although again, that's a tough one, but okay. The other one is obviously
All right, so it looks like the audio went out again. I'll go ahead and, does anybody want to kind of just describe what is happening right now? Indy, do you want to describe kind of what?
I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. He pulled that up while we were talking about all these violent crime statistics. They pulled up these little weed packs to as indication of what they should be doing when they should be talking about how they're gonna. He was trying to describe how they need to get more creative and go after these non-violent offenses such as marijuana possession. So I saw him holding it up to the water bottle. It was supposed to be comparing the size, make sure we knew that it was nugget size, and that nugget size marijuana is enough to harass people. So that was the bulk of the conversation. I think they understood that. I have a feeling that the people understood the overall, excuse my expression, whackness of that. I have a feeling that they understood that one. So I mean, it is what it is. They thought that was very important for us to know. I'm still not understanding that one. You're still on mute, Tam.
Sorry, everybody. So, like I was saying, I completely agree with you, Indy. I just think it was a piss poor job trying to show the community what matters. The police chief trying to show us what matters most in the size of the ounces in the weed shows that the criminals are getting smarter. I mean, I really don't understand what he was trying to do today, besides show us that public safety is not his concern. Violent crime is something that he's going to focus on, just to show us that cite and release is not his concern. And I think it was up to the city council to really show what the community asked for the most in the uprising of 2020. I think they really feel like we believe we're absent-minded, like we don't remember exactly why we were out there and exactly why the world took a stand against things like missed violations regarding to marijuana offenses. I mean, these low-level arrests and marijuana offenses is something that even the DA said he, was going to champion and not arrest people for. But here you go with the new police chief saying, "Oh, we're still arresting for 2 ounces of marijuana because the criminals are getting smarter." But what does that really have to do with how he can better police this city and how he can show that he cares about the community? Because we're spending a tremendous amount of money on getting these people to the jails when we are arresting people for low-level offenses, right? So it just really shows us what part he plans on playing. And we need to call him out on that, and we need to make sure that he understands, well, why we do what we do. So many grassroots organizers do this because it's a problem. Like, they don't understand it's a problem, and the city council members had a duty today to stand up in that and say, hey, we've done research, we see these things, data, arguments, observations, and for you all to still feel like, for them not to take that stand today and basically try to tell the Office of Police Oversight Director she didn't know how to do her job is offensive. She knows she's not a policymaker, but she also knows that the findings that she brought to the table today, as well as the recommendations, should be looked at so these things can be removed from the charter, and propose that we remove these two things from the charter because it can be done. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass it over to Minister Dominique Alexander.
Hello, Tamara. How are you? You doing all right? That hat looks wonderful today.
Okay, see you.
Awesome. Okay, somebody got some major feedback or whatever. Indiana, I love that cowboy hat. Changa, Jennifer, and Leilani, how are y'all? Y'all good? So real quick, I think that the one thing about cite and release is, of course, we knew that the city council was going to give the police chief time because, of course, he's new. But I think the reality is that regardless of how many times they arrest people for this, they're wasting their time because the buck stops and ends with the district attorney. The district attorney has to prosecute it. The district attorney has said time and time again through and notified every city in Dallas County that I'm not prosecuting you, right? So at the end of the day, of course, our people are yet getting arrested in a high proportionate rate. But at the end of the day, they're wasting their time doing everything that they're doing. And yet at the end of the day, one of the things that we have to fight right now, and I know Changa and so many different organizers are going to echo this. If he's going to be writing a policy that is going in the general orders, we need to be at the table in the drafting of that policy, right? In that ordinance. And we got to make sure that we're at the table in the drafting of it, because that's one thing that in the prior administration we had the opportunity of being able to do, right? So at the end of the day, we have to do whatever we can to make sure that we're at the table doing that process, to make sure that this is removed or whatever. I think that me speaking with the district attorney's office today, they're not moving on that policy. That policy is not changing. So at the end of the day, I don't care what the city wants to do and keep on pushing this down or whatever. We just, as an organizing community, has to stay on Chief Garcia on every different element. And of course, we know that there is a movement inside of DPD that does not want to do this. And we know that our state legislator is right now talking about how to legalize marijuana statewide. Yeah, this is an evolving conversation. But like I tell people all the time, the buck stopped with the DA. And yet at the end of the day, the city of Dallas is gonna have to get with the get down, because he's an elected official. That's not going away. They can't remove him. They can't eliminate his voice. And yet at the end of the day, you can file a case, but he got to prosecute it. So that's all I'll say on it.
Let me mention a few more things. So what the report was asking for is to take quality of life ordinances off of the books, right? So basically they were asking the city council to repeal ordinances that target people on these things like loitering, jaywalking, and other things. And so we were saying kind of what we were saying this summer. This report is trying to hit it from a different way. It wasn't talking about defunding, but what it was talking about is decriminalizing and removing enforcement, right? One of the things we were saying this summer was that we trying to decrease the interactions between the police and the people, right? And so what would happen if if the city did take these ordinances off the books, it would cut down on how many times police just wouldn't be able to pull you over for those certain small little quality of life things, and also for low-level drug possession. So, and it wouldn't just be cite and release. It wouldn't be an arrestable offense, right? And so some of that is state law. Like state law mandates that a police departments can use discretion with certain charges and with certain arrests. So possession up under a certain amount is one of them, right? So really, the city of Dallas can just say, stop enforcing it. We want you to stop enforcing the DPD, and they have to follow suit. But what we saw today was the chief come in and tell them, let me work on the policy. Let me deal with the policy and put it into my general orders and get back to you in 30 days. And our powder puff city council sat there and said, okay, you're new, chief. Yeah, instead of just saying, chief, come on and get back with us in 30 days with your plan, with your general orders. But we're going to make policy, because it's our job to make policy, and it's your job to enforce the law once we make the policy. But they didn't do that. Once again, so basically we are in the same boat that we were in before Chief Hall got here.
But Chunga, they want to say that Tanya don't make policy, but they allow the chief of police to make policy, right?
Exactly.
You see the contradiction of that?
Exactly. So once again, what they doing? They centering the power with the police instead of with what the people created to be there to help hold the police accountable and have oversight, right? And now I know there's a lot of political within the activist community. It's a lot of political ideologies and different things about how important oversight is, or if it's even needed. But the reality of it is that oversight is a gateway to defunding, right? The report that we were putting together today, that we were presenting today, the fourth recommendation, or the third or fourth recommendation in that report is to the money that you will be saving from not booking and wasting your time, which takes up to 3 to 4 hours to book someone for a drug possession charge. These officers can be back on the street, right? And so, and just from a short period of time, DA Cruzo already showed with his data that the city saved like almost $500,000 in months by not picking up people for when they started doing testing, right? They started doing marijuana testing, like for if it's K2, if it's other stuff, if it's hemp, right? Because some people were going to jail for having hemp, and that's not marijuana. So I mean, it's not
It's not an arrestable offense.
Arrestable offense. So that saved the city for like $500,000, right? Imagine how much money they would save if they stopped altogether arresting people for small amounts of marijuana altogether, right? And so it was, the recommendation was to take that savings and put it in the city services. That's defunding, right? Your oversight board did that. You get what I'm saying? So when I say oversight is a gateway, your oversight is a gateway to defunding. Like, it can be a tool to push for us to be able to dismantle the police department's budget by saying you don't need to do that anymore. We're going to make recommendations to the city council that they don't even need to be handling this anymore based on the data and what's best practices. And then you need to take that money and apply it to something that can deal with some of these systemic issues where this crime is coming from. You see what I'm saying? So that's why oversight, this board is so important. That's why the oversight offices are so important. And a lot of us fought blood, sweat, tears, literally, protest hours, bad knees, walking steps, miles on the streets to get this oversight board, right? And so we need to protect our victory. We need to protect our victory, because if we don't, what we do is if we don't protect this victory and we allow them to scale back and we allow them to erode the power of this office, then what's going to happen is they'll be able to do it in other places too. So the work that other activists are trying to do around bail reform, the work that we try to do around teen curfew, the work that we trying to do around cite and release, the work that you're trying to do around all these other things to get the police officers out of schools and all of that. If you can knock down one pin, you can knock down all those pins. They are interconnected and related. So don't get it twisted, right? It is a reform, it ain't abolition, but it is important to protect that victory for oversight. And so what we saw today is we saw 3 city council people straight up tell the Office of Police Oversight Director that she ain't doing her job, that if you need money and if you underfunded, why are you doing policy papers like this? You need to be investigating and you need to be investigating complaints, right?
And where
shut up and investigate complaints. Don't tell us how to run the city. Don't use your years of policy of expertise in policing to tell us how we should run the city. You get what I'm saying?
Correct.
Or run the policing or give us insight into policing. Just shut up and go investigate complaints.
Like, one of the things I think it needs to be said is the new chief, he knows what he came into. He knows why he's here. We made some gains this last year, and he knows what he's coming into. So these this give him time. He knows exactly what he's coming into. What he thinks is we're not paying attention. What he thinks is because we're on these virtual meetings that we won't shout it out, but we will, and we hear, and that's what he needs to know. So I think that's the part. They only do what we're allowed to, right? So we're not allowing them to do it, but also the folks who are allowing them in those seats, those 8 seats, whoever is softening up, they need to go to. But yeah, though that part needs to be said. He don't need time. He needs to remember why he's here.
I want to say something to that, because you were talking about those people in those 8 seats. So they're not worried right now either, because a lot of people don't even know that it's an election year. If it's not a mayoral race, people don't pay attention. So what I have realized, especially as far as my incumbent goes, because she usually only works towards the elderly people and people that vote. But there's a whole community of people that we still got to fight for, that are still being antagonized, that still are important, that still are a part of our communities, that these people don't even care about right now. They feel like they can do what they want when they want, because first of all, although we are at home right now, people still working, people still trying to figure out their lives, they still going through a pandemic. So they're literally over there in broad daylight doing whatever it is they want to do. And nobody's able to say anything because they're not even paying attention. They don't even know that these meetings are happening. You know what I'm saying? How many people do y'all know even realize that we have a new police chief? I'm talking about outside of us as activists and things like that. These are things that our people don't even really know or paying attention to, and they know that. This is the perfect. They've been acting a fool since we got into this pandemic. I'm talking about they've been doing what they want, when they want, how they want to do it. So with that being said, like at this point, they really feel like there's no consequences for their actions. They feel like I'm gonna do what I want to do, y'all. It's so funny because like I was looking, I was in South Dallas actually a few times in the past couple of weeks, and I've been seeing like, you know, they know that people don't really notice it's an election around, but they are like, the incumbents are going crazy with these signs, reelect me, reelect me. Martin Luther King has Adam stuff, so it's literally every 2 steps is a sign. Like they're blasting and they ain't doing no work. All you see, so people, if they are going to vote, all they doing is voting for the people, the signs that they see. These people not going to talk. They not fighting for them. They don't give a damn about them. And it's what do you do? You know what I'm saying? And they think that they don't have anybody real that's gonna come in and shut it down. But what they don't know, and what this summer has shown them, is that we not to play with. We're not to be played with. And at this point, if you don't feel like nobody else is gonna do it, we're gonna do it. And I apologize to the new chief for his ignorance, because he thought that I guess we was gonna go to sleep for a little bit, but we already know as people of color that regardless of who's in the seat, who's in office, who's in anything, they never really fight for us without us fighting, because justice and freedom are not given, they're won. So we already know that we gotta fight regardless of who's there or not. So my thing is this: for us, we got to do better. We got to do better with educating our communities. We got to do better with making sure that we're going door to door. We got to do better with making sure that our people understand that even though it's a pandemic going outside and this disease is taking us out, we don't have to let the people that we have left in charge kill us. We don't have to let the people that we have left, in charge really just do whatever they want to do. So, I'm glad that we're having this conversation and that we're getting it out right now so that people can know that, not to be fooled. It's early in this election season and we got a few months, but it's about to get really real.
Really, I can't agree with you more. I do appreciate everybody jumping on this call once again and just kind of allowing the community to have a voice, since it is up to us to help us. And, it is our duty to fight for that freedom, right? So I do want to shout some people out. Y'all know I'm the shout out queen. I got to make sure people feel loved and involved. I know we had some people asking to join early. I'm just gonna make sure they're in here. So I do want to say, Pamela Young, thank you for being on the call tonight. If you have any questions, post it in the comments. We appreciate you being here and your voice is heard. Regina, thank you so much for being here. Again, if you have any questions, I hope you posted in the comments. I know that you asked us, Regina, what happens to cite and release for small amounts of weed. And that is kind of what we just went over, and what Changa was talking to us about, and kind of what the video clip showed us that the Public Safety Committee was tackling today, that they really didn't do a good job at. And also, we have Jonas Park in here. Thank you for being here, Jonas. We do see that you're a District 2 candidate. So thank you so much for being here and showing that the community does matter to you. And let me see who else we got in here tonight. Asking questions, please. Amy Smith. Hi, Amy. If you have questions, please post them, and we will try to answer them. Thank you for all being here, being active. You could be anywhere else at 9 p.m., but you're here because the community matters to you. So stay involved, stay engaged. Remember, like Lily said, vote. We have 3. I am deputized to register people to vote. Indiana is as well. And also, Dr. Pamela and Jennifer Cortez. So make sure if you need to register to vote, you do, because you have to register by April the 1st. So April the 1st is the deadline to register to vote in this upcoming May 1st election. And Elaine Campbell did say that she was on the meeting today, and she asked us, did we hear the new chief use criminal element? So I'll let Chandra chime in on that criminal element. But first, and after Chandra chimes in, we are going to play a small clip so we could show exactly how they did treat the Office of Police Oversight today. So go ahead and.
Yeah, you know, like I said earlier, our new chief, you know, when I was part of the interview process, as well as a few other folks, for the new police chief, and Chief Garcia, our new chief, wasn't talking anything like this in those interviews. Let me just tell you that. But he got up here today and he sounded like Mr. Law and Order. Now, we know you're the chief of police, so you got to talk tough, right? But he was using code words. He was saying crooks, criminals, the bad guys. The criminals are getting smarter in reference to 2 ounces of marijuana. And he actually said that possessing 2 ounces of marijuana is a big factor in the criminal element in our cities, in the black market in our cities, in our city. And he was saying that, you know, to be able to enforce arrest is a big way to deter the black market, the criminal element, and the crooks. I mean, so these are the words he was using. So now all of a sudden we back to like 1989, 1987 all of a sudden, right? And so, yeah, and he talked about targeted areas too, Elaine, that's right. He didn't give any specifics on what that is. I will say that, you know, he did say it was kind of up to the city council what happens, but in his analysis, if you're carrying 2 ounces of marijuana, which most people who are caught, the stats show, I've seen the data, that that the packaging that people, the majority of the arrest, the packaging weighed more than the amount of marijuana that the person had that got arrested, right? So he failed to say anything about that. But this is black market, right? But two ounces is the maximum that you can have on you. Not saying that all these people that they're arresting has 2 ounces of marijuana on them, right? So if you get caught with a gram of marijuana on you, and he thinks, and under his discretion, he thinks, oh, you out here trying to sell, because he made an example of this young man that he caught that had under 2 ounces of marijuana, but he also had a lot of cash on him. So we felt like he was trying to distribute. So he got arrested, y'all. We don't know if that young man was just out with his marijuana and his paycheck. He just cashed his paycheck, but he went to jail. So we got work to do, y'all. Like, we got work to do. This city council, remember, this city council right here is not the city council that voted in the oversight board at 15-0 unanimous. They are not the same city council. There are several new people on that city council. This police chief is not the same police chief that was here when that happened. They don't believe fat meat is greasy, as my grandma said. That's really what it comes down to, is they don't believe fat meat is greasy. And if you're an activist, you're an organizer, and you out here and you hit these streets, you need to get active. Because what's happening is that our conservative city council members and our weak Powerpuff progressive city council members that we have, the Powerpuff guys, are basically letting the police chief have his way. And so unless we put that heat back on them and bring them that smoke, we're going to have problems. We're going to have problems, and we're going to see things start to be scaled back in this city. So, yeah, I call them Powerpuff guys. So
my question, because I it's so funny, and I keep laughing, and I just want to understand. the fact that it's 2021 and and the biggest argument that they have it is we don't cause people to break into your house. We don't cause people to shoot you. We doesn't make you do anything. Anything. And it's legal in a lot of places. It's legal in our nation's capital. It's legal in a lot of states. And yet they talk about the pill epidemic and how we want to help these people and rehabilitate these people and do so much for them. Yet the government is making money off of things that people are in prison for that have caused little to no harm, have actually shown medical help, that have helped people get through different things. My grandmother passed away of stage 4 bone cancer almost 4 years ago. And I remember when my grandmother was dealing with her pain, the one thing that helped her was marijuana. And that was the thing to ease her pain. And it just kills me because you could actually get medical marijuana, and Texas has to acknowledge that, and you okay. But the fact of the matter is there are so many other issues out here. There are so many different things. And for our city council to sit up here and act like this is okay, and it just, they talk about the targeted areas, and like you said, Changa, he did not specify what those areas are. We know what those areas are. We know who areas they're gonna be. We know they're not gonna be in Highland Park. We know they're not gonna be in Richardson. We know where they're gonna be. They're gonna be right here. They're gonna be here in Carolyn King's Arnold District. And she's not gonna say anything. She's not gonna care. That's where they've been at. That's where they're gonna keep attacking. That's where
75216 and 75215.
75215. Yep.
Our analysis shows that the 70 almost 80% arrests of Black people in 75215 and 75216 for low level marijuana arrests. I'm telling y'all, they were concentrated in downtown in the southern part of the city, and people ask why downtown, because the clubs. We are targeted at these clubs. Y'all all know this. The police wait for us to leave clubs, and they catch us coming and going. And so that's why downtown showed up, and District 14 showed up also a lot, right? And so this is a crisis situation in our city when it comes to Black people. The city council, yes, Adam Bazadua and the rest of them, they made a value statement today. That's what they did. They told us who was important today. That, you know what, when it comes to Black suffering and Black and racism, white supremacy, and policing and racist discriminatory policing, when it affects Black folks the most, we don't have to do anything. Matter of fact, we're going to put you at the end of the agenda. Let's talk for 5 minutes about your little report. And then we're going to question whether you even need an oversight office anyway, right? And we already know that regardless to our feelings about Chief Hall, the way they treated her, a lot of that was because she was a Black woman. And I sat there today and I watched how they treated Chief Hall. I mean, Director McClary. They discredited her expertise. Nobody on that city council. I'm talking about, you can round up the whole city staff and the city council together in one room, and they will not have more institutional knowledge than this woman when it comes to policing and policing reform and oversight. They questioned her expertise. They didn't even know who her boss was. And then they said, I don't want to hear from Tanya. We want to hear from the police chief to lead on this. How the hell is a police chief going to lead on conditions that the police department created in the first place? Right? So it's a slap in the face to us.
Well, it's clear.
A slap in the face to the community. It's a slap in the face to all the work that we've done.
It's clear Jennifer Gay Starbucks needs to pay a little visit because she's a little comfortable up north in that little central house and stuff like that, so that she can understand it. Because Here's the cold part, is most of these people have not even looked at this 9-page ordinance that clearly gives this office the decision on policy. It clearly says suggestion, policy recommendations. They're supposed to review these process, because at the end of the day, is that one of the things about the oversight board is that we didn't want to create something that is reactionary. We wanted something that prevents something from happening, right? And at the end of the day, if we're if African American and brown communities are high proportionally targeted in data is showing these things, yeah, we got to recommend to change these policies. But at the end of the day, you can clearly see that this council supports a law and order agenda. And we know that a law and order agenda has never supported us, has never stood for us. So it's important that we be the community that speaks out loud and clear to demand the justice, demand the accountability that we know. And at the end of the day, we cannot depend on this 15 people council and a mayor to educate Dallas. We got to be the people who educate Dallas, because clearly none of them has took the time to understand the ordinance around it. That means Adam Bazador, Carolyn King Arnold. Carolyn King Arnold is the one that recommended the audit over this office, right? She also recommended and told Chief Hall that she wanted the Texas State Troopers in her community. And I let her clearly know that if the Texas State Trooper, it runs down my street, I'll be running down your street honking all night long. So, but at the end of the day, we need some real transparency and accountability, and we got to fight. We got a real important couple of months prior to this election, and it's important. It's important that we educate people on the failures of these city council people. Yeah, they tell you all these good stuff, but stab us in the back behind closed doors.
Hey, let me say something real quick. I know, Tamara, y'all going to play the video. Let me tell you something. Tag Adam Bazador right now. Tag Carolyn King Arnold on this video right now. Tag David Blewett in this video right now. Tag Jennifer Starbuck Gates in this video right now. See, what they want to do is they want to have all these conversations in these debate scenarios and these debate paradigms where we can't really get to the issues. We out here in the streets. If you bad enough to get on this chat in this StreamYard with us right now and discuss it, we will discuss it with you. But I'm saying right now, y'all tag these council people. We want to hear from you, because what Carolyn King Arnold did today was unacceptable. What Adam Bazador did today was unacceptable. Adam Bazador sit up there and question whether the office even needed to exist and if they needed to have the power to make policy recommendations, right? Questioned it. Do you know, 2 months ago, we met with this man and we previewed this report with him. He already knew what the numbers looked like. We had a conversation with him about his concerns, and we thought we resolved the issue. Then he turned around and today said the exact same words that he said. Now, was it because he has a challenger that's coming for his seat? Maybe there, maybe so. But if it's really about Black Lives Matter, and you can wear a Black Lives Matter mask and you can paint Black Lives Matter on the City Hall Plaza, then you should have said, you know what? I stand in solidarity with him, whether he's running against me or not. Let me do the right thing. And so I'm saying, if you can tag him, if you got any homies listening right now, tag him and put him in here. Let's get them in here. We want to hear you. You deserve to give the people an answer, because Black Lives Matter, right? And when our Black elected officials didn't show up to your Black Lives Matter protest, you didn't have a problem speaking publicly about them not being there, right? So where you at right now?
Right. Thanks, Changa. I wanted to say something real quick, and I know I've been
Jenny,
in and out.
Lottie, and Indiana for being on this
Can y'all hear me?
call. Like,
Hello? Hello?
about conversations that will happen from.
I think so, right? Yeah. Is this my
and
time?
also us getting down to, why we're here. So we are going to show the video of what the public safety committee did when Tanya, the director, decided to speak today. We're getting ready to speak, my bad.
think my mic muted. Okay, can y'all hear me now? Cool. I think. Okay, thanks.
Working on and what you're planning and would like to see accomplished. So, Ms. McClary, are you on?
I am.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I guess I will share my screen. If I'm going to ask my colleague to assist me, at least put up the findings. It's going to be kind of hard to condense all this into 5 minutes, but I'll at least put up the findings for council. So if I can be given permission to take over.
Yes, Ms. McCleary, you do have permission, so you're allowed to share your screen.
Thank you. I'm going to ask my colleague to take this over, put that up, and then I'll be ready, Councilwoman, Chairwoman Gates.
Thanks.
Just a second. Slideshow, just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and just start talking while I get this pulled up. So I just want to give a couple of thanks in the beginning. This is actually, the office is actually co-authoring this report with the Leadership Conference Education Fund's New Era Public Safety Initiative. My colleague Changa Higgins is on the phone. He's actually the Dallas Policy Director for that project and also one of the people that did data analysis. And what we did was, I worked with the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights because they had a project where they've been working with various city councils across the country to actually look at ordinances and the impact of misdemeanor offenses. So when I learned about the work that they were doing, I contacted them and we formed a partnership to do this particular study. And Mr. Higgins is there, like I said, policy director for the work here in Dallas. And so I'm still trying to pull up the screen. We had 7 findings that, and I want the council to understand that after all of the protests last year, including the 100 days here in Dallas, the 100 days of protest here in Dallas, there has been a lot of national conversations about the impact of misdemeanor enforcement. And so our office has been a part of those national conversations and dialogues, as well as a part of the local conversations and dialogues. And I know City Council has been a part of that yourselves. You had several town halls, et cetera, hearing from the citizens right here in Dallas about their concerns about policing. And so when we did this report, we really wanted to look at the impact that it was having on enforcement in Black, Latino, or marginalized communities. And we came up with 7 findings. And the 7 findings that we came up with are that the Dallas Police Department makes nearly 6,000 arrests for low-level offenses every year. So we did a 3-year study. We looked at from July 1st of 2017 through June 30th of 2020. And that's what we looked at when we were bringing you all this analysis. So this is 3 years worth of data. And we also used the open data. We used the open portal data from DPD. And that's because one of the concerns we have is about how DPD disaggregates its data, the ability for the public to actually access data. And so you'll see that concern raised in the recommendation. The second finding was that arrests for low-level offenses are concentrated in downtown and southern Dallas. So that may not come as a surprise for some people, but that is where those are concentrated. And in fact, we looked particularly at 2 distinct districts. A lot of that is coming out of District 2 and District 14. that public intoxication is the most common low-level arrest out of all of the misdemeanors, and that Black people are overrepresented. When we look at the numbers of our Black residents, we realize that 37.5% of African Americans of the Black community, even though they're only 24% of the Dallas population as a whole, are represented when we look at public intoxication arrest. And then when we also look at drug enforcement, you guys have already spent a lot of time talking about that in your first presentation about the marijuana, you will find that Black people are significantly overrepresented in low-level drug-related arrests, period. And the biggest category of those is marijuana less than 2 ounces. And so when we look at those numbers, it is overwhelming that out of those categories, there's six categories of misdemeanor drug offenses, and 85% of those low-level drug arrests are for possession of marijuana less than 2 ounces. So this is probably impacting the conversation that you had earlier. So the majority of those arrests, 85%, are for arrests for possession of less than 2 ounces of marijuana. The fifth finding was that that was the fifth finding. The sixth finding. Disaggregated and detailed data for arrests and citations for all offenses. We had several recommendations, one of which would be to have my office work with City Council on initiatives that are affecting policing and criminal justice, such as your initiative on 2 ounces or less of marijuana and panhandling, and also that our office be included in initiatives from the Office of Integrated Public Safety and any other related offices. And so with that, I guess I'll just end here. I will put up this thank you note with all the groups that helped really support this project. And I guess I'll stop there, and hopefully we can schedule a time to get into these findings in more detail.
All right, thank you. Thank you for, and I'm sorry that we were short on time today. I think Mr. Fortune gave you a little fair warning that we might run out of time, and I think he's willing to bring this back. But because we had posted it, I wanted you to have an opportunity just to kind of introduce the ideas and what you've been working on. I do want, before I pass it on to council members, I know this is policing and it affects the way we are, that policing would, policing policy. And I think we've, brought a new chief on board, and I want to give him a fair chance before we're directing him to change ordinances, that he has a good grip on his violent crime strategy, and that we're letting them implement and not, sort of going ahead of him and changing policies and restricting their ability and tools and to fight crime. So I do want him to just say a few words about if he thinks we should be moving forward, holding back, giving him more time. So with that, I'm going to flip it over to Chief Garcia, and then have council members just give you about a minute each if anybody wants to say anything before we wrap up this discussion today and take questions on the memos and try to at least be done by 4:30. All right, Chief Garcia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just briefly want to say, obviously as a police department, we're going to be sensitive to equity and disparities. Some questions I would have on data, just simply particularly with this, if we're going to have this discussion holistically, are these statistics or arrests, are they self-initiated by the officers, or are there calls for service? What stations are they coming from? Obviously, I heard Dave mention a lot of the statistics are from Southern Dallas. And so if we're able to parse out what are self-initiated and calls for service, if the majority of these calls are calls for service, then it's that same community that's calling the police and asking for help. Recently we heard about the marijuana, and we're dealing with that. We talk about this criminal aspects. Going back to the example that Councilmember Kleinman had earlier, that is actually one of the tools we have for businesses to be able to affect safety in or about their neighborhoods. And then I'll just finally leave it at this. I know we talk with lower level, and I'm open to different ways to solve problems, but they're not lower level to the individuals that are calling 911 for help. They may seem lower level to people that aren't involved in the situation, but for the individual that needs assistance and calls police, it's certainly not lower level to them. So I would just be mindful of that as we move forward in our reimagining of things. That there are just certain things that we just need to really call out with regards to the calls for service if people are calling for help, and the fact that these aren't lower levels for the people that need help. Thank you, Councilman.
All right, thank you for your comments. And all right, colleagues, if you'll just kind of quickly, if you want to let me know and Mr. Fortune know what
Blade, I thought a game was up
in this presentation, or options, or kind of your impression. Quickly though, again, we'll dig into this again. We'll give you more time, but I don't want to. If there's something you want to get out said today, or a direction you want to give us, I do want to hear that. So with that, I see Mr. Basildua. I see you, and Mr. Blewett. I'll start with you, Mr. Basildua.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the presentation. Mr. Fortune, I guess I'm a little confused, to be honest with you, and I want to make sure that we walk away from here with a better understanding. I did get a chance to meet with Tanya and get the presentation prior to and see the data. What exactly is the role of the police monitor?
Certainly, we'll defer to Ms. McCleary, but the police monitor is the director, if you will, for the Office of Community Police Oversight. The monitor is engaged with helping to provide and promote overview of internal affairs investigations. There is another element of that function that involves reviewing DPD, general orders, procedures, things that would help us improve our service to the community, as well as public outreach and communications. And I may have missed another leg on that. Ms. McCleary could chime in, but I think that is some of the 3 or 4 key focus areas that we have for the Office of the Police Monitor.
Well, I agree, and I feel that I haven't seen much yet that has come into the internal investigation piece, which was what we were all excited for bringing this position on board for. Policy recommendations, I believe, need to come from policymakers. I think that this is something that I welcomed with open arms, and I still do. But I think that there's a process in which we handle policy, and a lot of that has to do with working with all stakeholders involved. And if any of that process is circumvented, I think it causes a lot of confusion. I've been asked by colleagues and other people where the recommendation was coming from, and I've also been asked where is the oversight. And so I would like to know, because oversight is an extremely important piece. But I'd like to know going forward, what is clear expectations? Because this is now the second time, not from Ms. McCleary, but with the oversight board, we had a similar instance as well. And I'm just kind of curious, what is the expectation in this new office that has been implemented in the past year? And I'd like that to be answered by you, Mr. Fortune, as her superior.
Actually, she does not report to me.
So
she reports to the city manager.
Okay. Can TC answer that?
I don't know if Mr. Brodnix is on the call, but if he is, I will defer to him. But I just want to clarify that Ms. McCleary does not report to me.
Okay.
And if Mr.
And I guess as a director, I'm trying to understand the councilman's comment, because I know you raised this before, even with the board. We are making recommendations. I am very clear that I am not the policymaker. And part of oversight, in terms of how even Mr. Fortune told you what the position was, for our office to look for things that potentially could be of a concern for the city of Dallas and to bring those forward. And so the goal of this report to bring those forward and just to, make some recommendations, but I'm very clear that I am not the policymaker.
No, and I know that you are, but I'm confused. I've seen no metrics on the side of where the oversight is supposed to be provided with internal investigations. I mean, whenever you were brought on board, we talked about the lengthy amount of investigations that required you being here. We heard from you on what we could advocate to give you better resources so that you can get that job done. Not one time has our Public Safety Committee been briefed on any items based on metrics of that side of your job, but this is now the second time that we have experienced policy recommendations. And I'm curious to see where there's a balance of what to expect from your office.
Mr. Basil, when we bring this back, let's work on then how the office and accomplishments can be incorporated into this as well. So a little bit more of an oversight. We don't have enough time to do that today, but I do agree we can probably, that's good follow-up that we can include going forward.
There is an annual reporting requirement. Excuse me, Councilmember.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
There is an annual reporting requirement, so I do believe Ms. McClary is probably planning to bring that to the Public Safety Committee at some point, and perhaps that would be the approach.
Well, did y'all see that?
Yeah.
That's Mr. Black Lives Matter. Let's paint it on the plaza and wear masks and march in the protest. Adam Bazadua sitting up there basically saying, we don't want to hear no policy recommendations from you. That come from us. Why are you even doing it? And let me ask your boss, which wasn't her boss. She don't even report to him. We had a big fight. That's
why though. I wonder why he thought that was. I wonder why he thought that was her boss. You know what I'm saying? What made that one man, that other man? I'm just curious. What made that man particularly look like the boss?
Hey, you feel me?
I was thinking this.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I've been trying to get in. I didn't mean to interrupt the stream that we have been going on earlier. I'm on 2 calls right now. But no, I watched this earlier today, and I just want to say too that I know I'm the only Latinx person on the screen right now. I'm sure hopefully there's a lot in the comments. But if we're gonna actually, I mean, yes, by far the Black community is getting the most arrests, but I promise you number 2 behind that is Latino. So 97% of these low offense arrests happen, and the risk of low offense marijuana offenses, all these different things, the risk for a lot of Latinx immigrant undocumented folk is being sent out of this country, which has happened before, and which has happened when they hold on to, when they do it here in DPD, even though they say that they don't, they do that. And that's what we're looking at. And I really feel like this is something that we have been battling beyond our lifetimes of the people that are on this panel right now. And if we don't come together as Latinx and African American, as brown and Black people, then we're not going to be able to defeat this. And if we think that the chief that came on, and when he started his whole ramble today with the pictures of marijuana, I was like, man, this is if anyone thinks that him being here isn't a ploy to separate the brown and Black communities, then we got to wake up. Because a lot of people in the Latino community are like, yeah, we finally have our first Latino to be chief of police. But that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that he's not going to arrest our people. That doesn't mean that because he's already showing that he's not doing that, right? So yeah, I just wanted to come on. I wanted to say I know it's here, and I know I'm on this other call. Just in case anyone didn't know, we were trying to get on the vote on Wednesday is to get undocumented people that live here in Dallas to be able to sit on city boards, because right now they actually aren't able to. And if we don't get it on the ballot this week, then it's not going to be able to be there again for another 3 years. And we don't know who's going to be in the office. Hopefully it'll be me, Changa, and Lily, but we don't know. So we need to get stuff like that passed, because it's not fair. It's not fair. So, and we need to stand together. So I just wanted to kind of just chime in here. I've been listening, and I'm in on this, and we're in this together. So like that's the only way we're going to be able to change the city, and the only way we're going to be able to get stuff that starts happening for our communities, because the majority of Dallas is brown and Black, like period. So that's the only way we're able continue. So I'll pass the mic back to y'all. Just wanted to let everyone know I'm here. Nice to see the family. Nice to see everybody in the chat.
I just want to say that for us as a community, we need to continue to remember and understand that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. They usually like to get the people that look like us, but do not have our best interest at heart. Why? Because they are able to trick us, because they come out with the Black Lives Matter shirts on. They come and speak at the protest. They don't really walk. When stuff get real, you know, they start off the march with you, and then somewhere along the way they disappear out of nowhere. But they come out and they make you feel comfortable enough to where you feel like, yes, I'm going to put my life in your hands. But behind closed doors, they are not defending you. They are not standing up for you. They are going against you because it's comfortable for them. We actually talked about this, Changa and Jennifer, was this like a week ago, where we were talking about, you know, a lot of the people that are, especially the older people and the Black and brown people that do get in the office and stuff like that, they want to be accepted by their colleagues. It's not about the community. It's about not shaking the table. It's about not booking the system. And it's about being the good, quote unquote, you know, the good house. Bloop. And all of that. They don't want to, you know, they don't want to come out and say that they're radical and that they really care about the people. But to be honest, your council member should be an activist for you. Your council member should be willing to flip tables over and shut it down for you, because it is not just about, you know what I'm saying, making the people around the horseshoe accept you. It's about really fighting for the people. That's your job, to stand up and to say these things. And let's be honest, Adam mad right now, and y'all could have came in there and said, hey, I got $1,010. I just want y'all to sign off on it and say that I can use my own money. He mad right now. Anything that's got Changa name on it, he gonna go against it. I don't care if you said I got free ice cream for the whole hood. I'm just gonna give it out. They don't gotta vote for me. They can vote for you. He gonna say, oh, we don't want Changa ice cream. He is going against it. You could have had 10 meetings with him. You could have explained it. You could have said, we gonna let you run it. He's so mad that you're running against him right now. He don't give a damn about the people. It is he feels played right now. And let's be honest, our city council members are selfish, like so selfish that they want to, you know, that our mayor and our city council want to argue with each other more than they want to worry about what's going on with us. They want to be able to fight each other more than they want to fight for the cause and things like that. We are literally having a conversation about marijuana, and I just feel like there are so many people that are not understanding how bull that is, how important, how crazy it is that this is something that affects us. Let's be honest. You're not riding around with a sign that say I got weed in my car. You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, you ain't speeding. If you know what I'm saying? They're not stopping you because you showed some type of justable cause for them to stop you. It's stop and search. They just doing what it's. A lot of these people are being attacked and targeted. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a certain neighborhood, if you drive a certain car, for them to say that they just assume based off of somebody having under 2 ounces, but they had a lot of money in their pocket. Who are you to say that I cannot have a lot of money? How can you say that? Maybe I'm on my way to pay my rent. You know what I'm saying? Maybe somebody just gave me some money. Maybe I'm excited about it and I want to stun a little bit. Who's to say that these things are not possible? But this is the world that we're living in. And nobody's going to speak up against it, because the Black people that are for, you know, any of these candidates, they're for them because they're doing something that they like, that affects them. 9 times out of 10, the people that are going out there right now are not fighting for these candidates because they really feel like they're the best person in office. They feel like they're the ones that are going to push their agenda. And it is up to us, the grassroots organizers, the ones that are behind the scenes, the one that people are going to look at and say, well, you know, they was arrested for such and such, or they were this and they were that. We are the ones that they feel like they know they know that it's a problem, but they feel like we are not what I'm saying, that we don't have the money, that we don't have the back end, that they still gonna be okay. But they understand that if the rabbit had the gun, it would be game over. So yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so again, thanks everybody for their input. We have a lot of comments in here. Thank you for joining us, Lashadian. And I know that I did want to speak to certain people that are asking questions right now, but we're gonna show you why we're here, right? We're gonna make sure we make this all make sense. So we need all of these questions you have on why they centered the meeting like they did today, and things like that, and why the chief feels like he can make the comments he made today. We need that energy to come to the Community Police Oversight Board meeting tomorrow, right? Because we want to make sure that we all introduce ourselves to the new police chief, meaning all the activists and organizers, since the only time we really get to see our new police chief is all over the local news every day, every minute, about him doing every action he does throughout the day. So we do want to make sure that we introduce ourselves correctly and that he understands the goal of the Community Police Oversight Board. Not that he doesn't know already, but we know how we were able to make our voices heard last year in 2019 when the ordinance first passed, and I know we can do it again. So please bring your talking points, the things that are most important to you, to that Community Police Oversight Board meeting tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. You will probably just be getting out of work, so it will be online. If you can tune in, that will be great. And again, we definitely appreciate everybody coming out tonight. We will make sure that we let anybody else speak if they would like to, but we don't want to keep you too much longer because we know you spent so much time with us tonight already. So if anybody else would like to speak, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
So I'm gonna say something real fast. Just cause that clip, I know y'all got a little bit hot with that. I know I got a little bit hot. I gotta talk about your boy Adam. I don't know if we're supposed to say names here, but I gotta talk about your boy Adam, okay? All right. Let's talk about how he was calling out folks for not being policymakers. I want to know what qualifies him, because I'm sure he's a policymaker. As a councilman, he's a policymaker. What qualifies him as a policymaker, and what qualifies her not to be able to contribute to the policies that he's making? These are decisions. That's what words like that comes from folks who weren't initially organizers, who weren't initially people who don't think that they are actually a part of the community. When you say something like that, you don't think you're one of the people. You sitting here that's when you talk about co-governance, and that's when you talk about how someone is not able to collaborate with others. They think that they have all the answers. They think that they're not one of the people anymore. All this good information that this woman brought to him, and all he could think of, let me tap this. I almost said something I wasn't supposed to. Let me tap this man I think that is supposed to be her boss. Because there's got to be somebody in here that can take control of this woman, this black woman, because she's not giving me the answers that I need right now. So I can't tell you how much that infuriated me. It was you know what it's about. It was almost as much as infuriating as that little girl who shushed Gail on a month ago. You know what I'm saying? It was that infuriated me. She came in with what the community assigned her to do. They assigned Maya Ponsetto, that's the name. They assigned her to look up this information and inform our community, and that's what she did. And what did it do? It bolstered everything that we talked about all this summer. and they said more than just a little bit. They also said early in the thing, the chief also mentioned that when asked about reallocation, a little bit about reallocation, he wanted to mention that, oh, I want to make sure that we're giving the opportunity to our police officers and able to and that they're able to take care of these things. That's exactly what we're trying not to do. People say that the police are overworked, and we're trying to move it into different places. In Okay, I'm gonna finish, right. I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna let it go where it is right now before I ramble. But just know that the councilmen that we have, some of the council members that we have are not connected to the people and not connected to those organizers who have over the summer done all of this work that the city should have been doing, that he should have been bolstering. And I'm done.
Okay, so we do want to let, again, Indy, thank you. I know you said, I almost said something that I wasn't supposed to say, but I just feel like it plays right into our title tonight. I thought a councilman said something. Like, they're not saying nothing. They're because their actions speak louder than their words, right? So we do want to let the people know that the core of what the Community Police Oversight Board meeting needs to be about is, they're not going to dismantle the oversight board, right? When they keep strategically trying to come and say, what are your duties? Why are you overstepping? Complete lies, by the way. And who do you report to? They think that the oversight board should be dismantled. They think the power should be eroded. They think that we shouldn't have that voice, that the community really just doesn't matter. The same old song, right? Wash, rinse, and repeat. So it's really important for us to know we have to let the city council and the city managers know that we will not accept or tolerate attacks on that office, right? Because we were here in 2019 going hard for police oversight in the meetings where we could physically show up, and we turned it out. But now that we can't, that everything is virtual, they feel like we're not going to show up. They feel like they can attack that office. They can attack Tanya's character, attack her director role, and not do what they need to do. So that is the goal for tomorrow, and we definitely want you to come out. Without further ado, we're going to end for tonight. Again, I do appreciate all the grassroots organizers, the community leaders, everybody who is on the call, the candidates. I will let all the candidates definitely give us information on where people can find out more about your campaign. If you have social media, a website, a page, I'm going to let y'all go ahead and go through that, and then y'all have a good night after we let the candidates kind of tell you how to get in contact with them, because they're going to be doing some amazing things through this campaign. And I know they have some things planned for their district. So I'll start off with Jenny Cortez, if you can give people more information.
Yeah. I keep on, it's not working. There it is. Okay. I kept pushing the mic and it didn't. So, hey everybody, I'm Jennifer Cortez. I am running for City Council District 2. We are running to unseat a power that has been in the seat for more than 40 years, since the late 1970s. It's rooted into everything that's happening right now. This is the heart of it, but we need people, we need support. So my website isn't up yet, but it is cortezfordallas.com. I'm finishing this. Facebook will be up by tonight, but y'all can always follow me on my personal Facebook. You'll have all the links to that, but soon too. So, but that's who I am. I guess I'll pass the mic over to my sister from another Mr. Leilani Russell.
Okay, I'm over here having the mute unmute problem myself. So I'm Leilani Russell. I am running for District 4. Like my sister just said, I'm still working on my website and things as well, and my Facebook will be up, Leilani Russell for District 4. Please look me up. Google anything, hit me up. All of this will be done before the end of the week, so you guys can definitely follow me. But yes, thank you guys. Changa.
Yeah. I'm Changa Higgins. I'm running for Dallas City Council District 7. I'm running for the people. I'm running for real progressive action. I'm running to change the narrative, change the conversation down at City Hall. I'm running to change the idea about what we need in our leadership in this city. And, you know, I'm not going to use my Suge Knight voice, but if you're tired of Powerpuff City Council people that want to get all up and talk about Black Lives Matter, but then around the City Council horseshoe, they ain't really about that life, come vote for Changa.
Let me redo that real fast because Changa just came through and killed it. So let me just say real fast. I'm definitely everything that he said. I want to say that, and I'm a dope woman. I'm just playing, but seriously, in all actuality, the three of us have been activists for quite some time, all my life. But this is the next stage. This is the next step. If we cannot, we've stormed the rooms, we've sat at the tables and asked them to do the right thing. We've showed up at meetings and shut things down. We have been from sitting down cordially and asking them to being a little more radical and disrupting the things, and still begging and asking. I'm tired of asking. I'm tired of waiting on them to do what is right. So at this point, we will be doing what's right. I'm going to get in there. Me and my people are going to get in there, and we're going to be the change. So we are telling you guys to come out and say, you know, enough is enough. Stop, like he said, stop with the powder puff. Stop the being on the fence and not knowing what to do. You need real change in Dallas. So you need real progressives. You need real people that are willing to fight, that don't mind bucking the system, that aren't scared, that could care less about what anybody else has to say. Let your council people be real activists, real grassroots organizers. And I'm going to tell you right now, these three people that are on here, them your people.
Thanks, Lily. They say I want to add a 2-second pause there, just like Leilani did. But no, I mean, it's this is about brown and black power together, right? And when we realized that was a possibility, when we were talking, we were like, okay, we could do this. This is what it's really about. Because if you look at the history of Dallas, it's always about dividing those communities. And if we can figure out now how to make a stand and how to say something to city council, then we can break chains that have been on us for the entire history of the city. So this is a big deal. And yeah, I've been marching in the streets since 2005. Immigrant rights was my sauce. And then when Botham John was my neighbor, I got looped back right into this fight. So we're in this, and we're in this together. This is about changing Dallas. And I co-sign everything that Changa and Leilani said too. But yeah, so let's get out here. We need support. We need people. This is a people power movement. They will outfund us. They will try to do all of it because they've been in power for so long. But we have to show that the people have a voice and that we are strong and we're united. So, all right, Tam, back to you.
So, as y'all see, this is why the progressives are definitely going to reimagine what our communities look like. So this is why you need these type of leaders in these seats. Like Pamela Young said, we definitely need progressives in District 2, District 4, and District 7. Real progressives, right? Not people who put a badge or button on every day that says, "Hi, I'm a progressive." We need real progressives, and we definitely need to bring the Black and brown communities together, like candidate Jennifer Cortez said. So we are going to go ahead and wrap it up. Again, we thank you, we love you for tuning in. You never know, you might get I thought a councilman said some part too. So just let us know how you kind of feel about this program, and we'll keep it going because we think it's really important to keep the community engaged, not in a siloed way, right? We bringing all this power together, and that's what matters. Is because they'll keep trying to silo us out unless we unite. And we all know the people united cannot be divided, and that's the strategy. It's the simplest thing that solve the hardest problems. I was told that one time. So I think that we have everything we need. Lalani Russell for District 4, Changa Higgins for District 7, and Jennifer Cortez for District 2. Again, thank you so much. You can find this post on Dallas Action. That is on Facebook. And until we meet next time, we love you. Peace and power. And we ain't got nothing to lose but our chains. So let's go ahead and break them. Good night, y'all.